Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to Tuesday's segment of FSU Weather. So glad to have you guys with us here today. It's been a pretty nice day around here in Tallahassee. Currently 68 degrees, mostly sunny. I know in this type of weather, I like to go outside, maybe hang out on Landis, take a walk. Whatever you like to do when the weather is nice, today is the perfect day to do it. And look at that beautiful sunset over Doak right now, looking great. Looking at our current temperatures around the area right now, things are pretty uniform for the most part. High 60s to the mid 70s. Everybody enjoying a relatively nice day. And looking at our dew points, things are relatively wet, at least compared to what we saw maybe last week around this time. Things were a lot drier, but still not too muggy, not things that are going to make the weather too bad. And radar looking nice and clear, no storms in the area, which is super nice like we've been talking about. So our headlines today, we're going to talk about that sunny day in Tallahassee, also traveling to Voyageurs National Park and talking about some Texas wildfires. All this and more on FSU Weather.
Thank you so much. We have an amazing show planned for this Tuesday. Beautiful, beautiful weather conditions here in Tallahassee. Really a nice night to get out, and I would really advise doing so before the rain starts to come in, with the possibility of showers tomorrow as well as Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are seeing quite a bit of rain in the forecast. So as this weekend may have been sunny and you were lucky enough to hit the beach and go out, this weekend I cannot tell you that the same will be occurring. But an amazing show planned, Voyageurs National Park. But for now, Tyler, what's going on in Tallahassee?
Yes, that's right. We're going to be taking a look at Tallahassee. Here we go. We just got another look at Doak Campbell Stadium here. Why not show that beautiful sunset one more time? 68, like I mentioned earlier. Winds at 11 miles per hour coming out of the south. I know when I was walking to class, I could definitely notice it was very windy outside. My hair was flowing all over the place. But again, taking a look at that radar, no storms to worry about. May have had some wind, but beautiful sunny skies, no rain in our viewing area here. And temperatures, once again, pretty uniform for the most part. 60s and 70s, getting into that springtime weather that I'm sure a lot of people have been looking forward to. I know I have. And as we look at comparing these temperatures today to our averages, we can see it was a little higher than average. 77 today was our high, getting to a low of 51, which is a bit close to our average here, and definitely nowhere near that record of 17 degrees set in 1974. You know, that's really cold. Definitely not what we've been seeing here today. Dew points, again, little higher than last week, 60s and high 50s, but again, not too muggy. Still a nice day to enjoy if you are outside. But as we look into the future, weather is not going to be as nice. We're going to see some clouds start to move in across the area, and that's going to bring with it the chance of some possible scattered showers on Wednesday, and as we get into later in the show, some more rain later on in the week as well. But tonight, temperatures dropping down to 58 degrees. It's going to be partly cloudy, and those winds are going to drop slightly down to 6 miles per hour, but still a little breezy, so you know, just be aware of that. But as we zoom out a bit, looking at our entire viewing area tonight, temperatures, again, pretty uniform. Everybody pretty much around that 60-degree mark, a little bit warmer near the coast with Carabel and Apalachicola getting up into the mid-60s there. But overall, nice night to get out, maybe look at some stars, maybe have dinner outside. Great things to do when the weather's nice like this. Tomorrow we're going to warm up a bit, have one of the hotter days we've had recently, 82 degrees and cloudy. So definitely dress appropriately for that. Winds are also going to pick up, once again, 15 miles an hour out of the southwest there. And as we zoom out a bit tomorrow, again, going to be pretty hot across all of our viewing area here, everybody around that 80-degree mark. A little cooler near the coast, but again, pretty nice conditions. I mean, it's not too hot. And as we look at the week ahead, we're going to see those temperatures drop down a little bit slightly as we head towards the weekend, and then we're going to see some pretty rough rain chances for the weekend and early next week as well. You can see Friday is when it starts at 40% chance of some rain, and that's going to turn into some thunderstorm chances on Saturday with 70%, as well as Sunday and the rest of the week. So definitely make sure to be aware of that when you're making your commute to your classes or wherever you're heading. Definitely not going to be great weather to be outside, so enjoy today while you can, because we might not be seeing some nice weather for a while. But now let's zoom out a bit with Genevieve talking to
Absolutely, Tyler. The entire state is reasonably warm for this time of the year, though Puxatawny Phil did mention that early spring. But we are seeing into the 70s in Orlando, 73 down in Miami. Really nice conditions to me for the whole state of Florida, though that will change as we get slightly cooler with that rain coming in over the weekend and with the possibility of tomorrow. Current temperatures for the entire state, we are seeing up into the 70s up in the Panhandle, and just as you go down into the peninsula, getting above that 70-degree mark, we're looking at 73 down in Miami as well as in Tampa. Beautiful city of Miami. Tuesday is a great night to get out to a museum. My favorite is the Perez Art Museum, so if you could get out tonight, that would be ideal as we are experiencing no rain currently in Miami. But wow, 79, 81, that's typical for Miami, though really warm compared to here in Tallahassee. But if you are thinking about getting out into Tampa, maybe you are from there and have the chance to get out over there tomorrow and into the rest of the week, 79 is our high for tomorrow. 80 degrees is our high for Thursday. Looking at decent rain chances, meaning like 20% and under, so a decent chance to get outside and not experience any rain. Orlando, magical city, Disney World. Always a lot of fun there. Try to get out there on Wednesday if you can, because the rain chances will increase as you get into the rest of our weekdays. Jacksonville, Florida, 83, 63. That's quite a difference over the next 2 days, but we'll see those rain chances increase as we get to a 40% chance of rain over on Friday. And Pensacola, whoop whoop, another beach, another beach location. Really not beach weather. 20% chance of rain tomorrow, and that will increase by the end of the week. But luckily, we have no rain on the radar currently. Let's check out down south in South Florida. You do have some rain off to the west coast, just some spotty showers. But for the actual peninsula, we are looking really nice and clear. Up into North Florida, we have those clouds rolling in into the rest of the evening, but no rain, which is really nice. But that will not be the same for the rest of the week. And I'm sorry to deliver you that news. As that rain passed by into the rest of the state, into North Central and Central Florida, into tomorrow, make sure to carry that umbrella and have that raincoat on you. Tonight in Florida, we are getting into 63 over in Fort Myers and getting cooler up into the rest of the Panhandle into 50 degrees. But our high tomorrow, 82 degrees. Now, is the rest of the southeast looking that hot, Tyler?
Well, not currently, at least not when we're looking at some of these live feeds you've got here. You can see Nashville, Tennessee, and New Orleans sitting around that mid-70s mark with some relatively clear skies, at least in Nashville. You can see some clouds out there in New Orleans. But as we look over at Charlotte and Tampa, my hometown, things are also looking pretty nice. Tampa at 71. Charlotte enjoying some pretty nice temperatures at 63 degrees right now, although it is looking a little overcast out there at the moment. And as we zoom out and look at some radar across the entire southeast, you can see we've got this dry line out here, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later in the show. It may contribute to some severe weather out there in the Midwest. But other than that, you can see a lot of showers over here near the Carolinas and parts of eastern Tennessee and North Georgia as well. They've been experiencing some rain for a while, and unfortunately, they're not going to see a break for a while with those rain chances that we're going to see later on in the week across the entire southeast as well. Current temperatures looking relatively nice, especially on the eastern coast with nice mid-70s and looking at 64 and 66 out there in the Carolinas, enjoying the nicest temperatures. But as we move a little west towards Arkansas, Louisiana, and parts of Mississippi, things are a little bit hotter in the 80s out there, so they're probably not enjoying that as much, but no rain out there, so that's something to say about that as well. Wind, as I mentioned earlier, it's been a pretty windy day here in Tallahassee, and it's been windy pretty much across the entire southeast as well. We can see, especially out there in Memphis, currently 24-mile-per-hour winds. So, you know, they might blow away out there. That's real windy out there, so I'm sure they're not enjoying that much. But, you know, those should calm down hopefully later in the week. And as we look at some more radar across the area as we move through this week, you can see those storms on Wednesday that I was talking about. And as we move later into the week, all these clouds are going to produce some more storms that are going to create those thunderstorm and shower chances that we discussed up and across the entire region here in Georgia, Mississippi, and parts of Florida as well. Looking at the dew points, you can see that moisture is starting to move away as that dry line moves across the area, and we get some pretty dry dew points for the majority of the southeast, except for some parts of southern Florida here. And just taking a look at some of those spotlight cities for the forecast throughout the week, you can see Charlotte, as I mentioned, is not escaping those rain chances. We've got 80% chance tomorrow. They get a bit of a break on Thursday, but it picks right back up on Friday and Saturday with some pretty high rain chances on those days as well. Nashville, pretty similar story with those high rain chances on Wednesday. Bit of a break on Thursday, picking up again heading into the weekend, but it looks like they could maybe escape at least the majority of the rain on Saturday with only a 20% chance there. Tampa, looking like they'll really avoid majority of that rain, maybe just some scattered showers with only some light chances of 10 to 20%. And New Orleans, continuing that pattern with some storms expected heading into the weekend. But now let's talk about our special Tuesday segment with the national parks. Genevieve, where are we going to be talking about today?
Environmental science student, I am here to deliver all the little quirks about this very special national park. And we'll exit through the rest of these graphics going into Charlotte. You are looking rainy, and Nashville as well. 90% chance of rain over on Wednesday, so you are seeing quite a bit of rain. And Tampa as well, pretty decent actually. New Orleans, 20% chance of rain on Wednesday and Friday, 90%, Saturday 80%. Really a lot of rain to come, so please be prepared and stay weather aware. But here we are, America the Weatherful. The national park of this Tuesday is Voyageurs National Park. Now that name and the spelling may be a little weird to you, but it was actually named after the French-Canadian fur traders who traveled and discovered the land in the 18th and 19th centuries up there. Now, 40% of the park is actually made up of water. So for the most part, we are on a boat when we are going through this beautiful national park, which is really quite rare. We think of national parks, we think of somewhere out west, really dry, Grand Canyon, Glacier, and we're thinking about walking around and hiking a lot, but this one is really unique. You get to see the northern lights sometimes, and you're on the water. So that's really unique, especially for the people over in Minnesota. Now, this is a beautiful place. 9 degrees was our high, -12 was our low. And I really have not seen this low of a temperature on the map personally. You're looking at 2 degrees over in International Falls, Minnesota, and you see those temperatures on the weather map showing really, really quite chilly. Purple into blues, we're looking at 8 degrees all across the region, which is really something that I cannot fathom, but -1 is our dew point, so carry your chapstick, carry your hand lotion, keep everything in your pocket, because if I were over there, my skin would be peeling off. So please try to make sure that you are keeping yourself together for these conditions that are occurring, because this is not something to joke with. Winter weather is always something that can be quite scary, but we'll see those clouds roll through into Wednesday, and you'll see that 4-day forecast showing the temperatures luckily getting on up there, but 8 degrees is our high tomorrow, so maybe stay inside. That would be my advice. About something a little more warmer, the Texas wildfires.
Yeah, that's right. Things aren't too great out there in Texas right now. They're experiencing some wildfires across a lot of the region. Currently, there's some fire weather warnings in place throughout tonight and throughout the plains for more than 11 million Americans in cities including Amarillo, Tulsa, and Wichita. So if you're out there, you definitely want to be aware of that.
Absolutely, and those conditions consist of gusting winds, really warm temperatures, and that low humidity. So seeing as what we saw over in Minnesota, where the humidity is so low and the moisture is so low, that can lead to those red flag warnings and the fire weather warnings.
Yep, absolutely. And as we take a look at some of those fires that are going on right now, we can see they're starting to put some work in and putting those out. We see that Juliet Pass fire, 90% contained. So they're doing a good job with that, but it still has a lot of work to do with some of those other fires. You see that one on the top right there, 40,000 acres burned right now. So that is a big issue that they got to deal with out there right now.
Absolutely. There's really a lot of work still to be done, and though we want to thank our firefighters and everyone who is putting in the work to help all of these citizens in this area, it is still something that you yourself as a citizen need to be as careful as possible. And ways that you can do that is properly disposing cigarettes, or if you know someone that smokes, to properly dispose of them, as well as keep vehicles off of dry grass.
Yep, that's right. And you're also going to want to avoid any activities that are going to have sparks or any fire associated with them, or any machinery that's going to have sparks associated with it as well, with those dry conditions that we've been talking about. But now we're going to want to zoom things out a bit and take a look at National here over at the wall. So as well, Bismarck sitting at 7 degrees right now, so they certainly are not getting those spring temperatures that the majority of the country is seeing right now. I'm sure they're begging for it. Billings as well, 10 degrees. But as we look elsewhere, things are, like I said, warming up. People getting up into those mid to high 70s. And as we head into tomorrow, as I've been discussing, those temperatures are going to creep up a little bit as well. Dew points, as you can see, there's a pretty big spot of some moisture here in the general southeast area. But as we look up near Bismarck and Billings again, we can see it's extremely dry out there. Bismarck, -2 degree dew point. So the air is extremely dry out there right now, and it's also pretty dry for the majority of the western and central United States as well. And as we look at some radar and satellite, we can see it's mostly just clouds. However, as we look at the East Coast here over the Carolinas, and maybe some parts of Georgia as well, we can see those showers starting to move off of the East Coast. So they'll be hoping to see those go away. But as we look at some rainfall forecasts, you can see that a lot of areas are still in store for some more rain throughout the rest of this week, as we've been discussing, especially out there in the West Coast, off the coast of Oregon and Washington there, with our highest rainfall expected, but also a lot expected in the Northeast and parts of the Southeast as well, really with the entire East Coast, with that storm system moving across the area that we've continued to be discussing. And as we look at this temperature outlook, it's really a country divided here, with the East Coast mainly above average and the West Coast mainly below average. So two different stories at this time of year, I guess you could say, with the eastern parts of the United States getting spring a little earlier than elsewhere. Temperatures tonight, again, looking to continue that story we've been talking about. Things are pretty calm in the southeast area. Things extra cold up there in Bismarck and Billings. Again, that's really the story of this national forecast here. 0 degrees in Bismarck tonight. So, you know, they're going to be freezing out there. They're really going to be hoping for some warmer temperatures soon. Looking into tomorrow, it's going to be a little hotter. As I've been mentioning, you can see Tallahassee getting up to 82 degrees and getting up to 79 in Miami as well. So warming up out there, and that cold spot continues to stay cold, although Billings getting a bit of a break at 45 degrees. And you know, 56 elsewhere. But now let's talk about some weather that the people should be aware of, with some possible severe weather out in the Midwest. Genevieve, what's going on?
Well, there is a lot of rain and a lot of snow to come, and some mixed precipitation coming into the Midwest. I know, Tyler, you were pointing out how there is quite a bit of rain, up to 2.5 inches and more into the Northeast, but the Midwest for now is what we're keeping our eye out for. This is the severe weather map, and we see that enhanced risk for storms that are going to be severe, meaning that, I'll move over so you can see that we have potential for tornadoes, large hail, and high winds is going to be our most dangerous risk, as they're approaching the moderate to high level of danger, and flooding is also something there, but we could be experiencing a good amount of snow. So the flooding is something that we will need to worry about later on. Excessive rainfall for the area into the Midwest. We are looking for marginal risk, as I pointed out, that the snow is something we need to deal with, and the rain, but further later on we'll deal with flooding if needed. And the severe weather setup, we're looking at that low pressure system draped all across into the central part of the country that is bringing that rain coming into the Midwest. And something that we always need to highlight is how much the jet stream is really affecting this weather pattern. There's things like the jet stream and El Nino that is really causing these warmer temperatures and bringing this warm air on up and pushing that colder air down. So we have these storms moving across into the eastern part of the country, getting along the coast, and we'll see that rain just build up more and more as we see it most concentrated into that eastern part of the country over onto the coast. And severe weather, safety, always turn around and don't drown. If you see a risk of flash flooding, it's always something to be most careful about. But here in Tallahassee, what could we end up doing tonight, Tyler?
Yes, as we've been talking about, conditions are still pretty nice here in Tallahassee, so if you're getting out, plenty of things to do today. Right now, looking at our cameras, see beautiful sunsets all around. Panama City especially looking lovely right now with those streaking clouds, with that setting sun. Lake Bradford looking nice as well with that reflection off the water. The Sportsplex is looking great as well. I know we've got a lot of intramurals happening right now, and if you've got any tonight, should be perfect weather to get out there and hopefully win whatever games you've got going on. And if you're heading out of Tallahassee right now, for the moment things are clear, but you know, you're definitely going to want to make it back pretty soon because that more severe weather and thunderstorms that we've been talking about later in the week could possibly cause some delays as we head into the weekend. But again, as we look at the airports across some other cities across the country here, everybody, no delays. You can see, looks like there's a bit of rain out there in Denver, but not causing any problems at the moment. And everybody looking like they're having pretty nice conditions. But pollen conditions are not looking as great. If you've got some bad allergies, today has probably been a little rough for you. As you can see, weeds are low, but our grass is at a medium and trees are at a high. So you're definitely going to want to keep that Claritin or some other kind of allergy medicine on hand if that's something that you struggle with because conditions are not great today. But if you've got a dog and you're getting out and going to take them for a walk tomorrow, conditions should be pretty nice. You know, at 7 a.m. it's going to be a nice 60 degrees, and that's going to warm up as we head through the rest of the day. But just some clouds, not any rain expected. So shouldn't have any issues getting out there and getting them to go for a little walk. Now we've also got some sports coming up with the Seminoles here. First up with the men's basketball against NC State tonight at 9 p.m. at the Tucker Center. 62 degrees and mostly clear right now, but that game's inside anyway, so shouldn't have to worry about the weather. Get out there, support the guys. Hopefully they get that win tonight. We've also got women's basketball coming up later on Thursday. That's going to be out in Kentucky. If you happen to be there, it is going to be a bit chilly, 48 degrees, but mostly clear. And even if you're not there, again, try to tune in and support those girls. We've also got softball coming up on Friday. They're taking on Mount St. Mary's out there in Oregon. But it looks like there might be some rain showers they'll have to deal with playing that game. Hopefully it doesn't cause any delays, and they can get out there and grind out that W. Keep the winds rolling. Now, looking at the beach cam, things are looking pretty nice. Nice sunset out there, 68 degrees. So it's actually decent beach weather if you're trying to get out there. And if you're heading out in the morning to the beach, things looking pretty nice as well. And the Sportsplex, as I mentioned, looking lovely. But now let's transition things over to Genevieve and take one last look at the local.
Yeah, Tallahassee is looking quite beautiful in my opinion. We'll get into that weekday forecast here, getting into 40% chance of rain over on Friday, Saturday, 70% chance of rain. So I'm really sorry about your weekend plans. Maybe they're not looking too good, but that could also be an excuse as midterm season is here and we've been grinding so much and working so hard to do well on our tests and do all of our homework in time that this could be a nice relaxing weekend. Currently 68 degrees over by Doak Campbell Stadium. We'll see that beautiful sunset behind me, mostly sunny. We do have some clouds in the sky, but it makes for a beautiful sunset, so I cannot complain. Our local radar for the Tallahassee area is really nice and clear. So again, it's a nice night to get out, maybe go out to dinner with your friends. I know our producer, Nikki, is getting out to have some Indian food, so maybe you can go out and try something new like that with your friends. 68 degrees is our current temperature in Tallahassee, and we're looking pretty close to that 70, just under 70 degree mark as Mariana is experiencing. That 72 degrees, I was just in Mariana the other day, so they're nice and warm, quite spring-like in my opinion, but 68 degrees as we go further down into the state. Current dew points, now we are ahead of that low pressure system bringing us that rain, so we are really humid, and once that system moves across, we'll have that dry chapstick and lotion conditions. But for now, 60-degree dew point, so that's really close to our current temperature, which is giving us high humidity percentage. And our satellite for the next few days will show us clouds, and we'll see those spotty showers come and roll into Wednesday at about this time tomorrow. So carry that umbrella in your backpack. Maybe a change of socks and a nice pair of shoes or rain boots would be something I know I've wound up in class squeaking as I walk into the classroom and sitting in some wet socks for multiple hours. So please try to be careful and always say weather aware and up to date. 58 degrees, partly cloudy is what we're looking at for tonight. 60 degrees in the overnight hours, and we'll get into the 63 and 64 down by the coast in Carabel and Apalachicola. Tomorrow, we are getting really warm, 82 degrees and cloudy. We're experiencing that spring, almost summer-like conditions here in Tallahassee, so that groundhog must have been correct because we're seeing this weather map, this temperature map, showing us these oranges and yellows and greens, showing us really warm temperatures. So 82 degrees will be our high for tomorrow, and if you are thinking about getting down to the coast, St. Mark's, 72, just 10 degrees lower. So really, really nice, a nice day to get out until those showers start coming in. And for the week ahead, we'll see those conditions worsen into the weekend, unfortunately. And Tyler, can you close out the show for us?
Yep, thank you for that, Genevieve. We've had a pretty jam-packed show for you guys today. A lot of weather going on pretty much across the entire country here. Fortunately, we've got a lot of rain coming in, heading into the weekend around Florida and pretty much majority of the southeast as well. So you're definitely going to want to stay weather aware, like Genevieve mentioned, and be sure to pack an umbrella with you if you're heading to class. We also had to talk about those Texas wildfires. If you know anybody in Texas, make sure to check in with them, make sure they're okay. Hopefully our brave firefighters can get out there and handle those fires that seem to be causing some issues out there, and also some severe weather out in the Midwest as well. But overall, just make sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather, and make sure to like us on Facebook as well at facebook.com/FSU weather, and watch us live on YouTube like you are right now at FSU weather, and follow us on Instagram at FSU weather. And also make sure to follow us on TikTok at FSU's Weather. We make sure to post a couple videos on there as well. But that's all we've got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to stay safe. And here's one last look at that 7-day forecast.